In Alien Earth, we'll finally get to see xenomorphs on our home planet, something that's never happened in any of the 7 Alien films. But in the expanded universe, and in the AVP timeline, Earth hasn't been so lucky, and has been hit with multiple invasions or breakouts. One of the earliest of these incidents takes place in the 1950s in a small American town, in a story called Earth Angel, which introduces us to a mysterious extraterrestrial and a new kind of xenomorph queen, who is confronted by the ancestors of Ellen Ripley. We begin with Matt and Lou, who are running through the forest towards something that has just fallen from the sky. And there it is, an alien spacecraft. It's crash landed and a fire has started from underneath it. It's partially covered by brush in the foreground, but it's white in color with a flat shape that narrows out towards the front, with 2 wing-like structures on top that could house the engines. It's intricate in its design and covered in angular panels with lots of windows, while also having what appears to be text on it from an unknown alien language. The interior is tight and just as busy as the outside of the ship, with buttons, lights, and screens on every surface. The pilot, seated at the controls, wears a bulky white spacesuit that mirrors the ship's design with its own rectangular shapes and alien markings, and there's something about his size and positioning that, to me, is somewhat reminiscent of the space jockey of LV-426 and the seated engineers of LV-223. Fearing that the ship is about to explode, the two pull the alien from the wreckage just as it's engulfed in flames. Outside, the alien lays on the ground, motionless, with a facehugger still attached to its head. But with no context or knowledge of the danger at hand, they believe that this is his face, and that he has no eyes. Not knowing what else to do, they take the alien to a local doctor's office, where the doctor, who is remarkably calm about all this, begins removing the suit. Underneath, they find a lighter yellow-colored suit with flexible sections. The prequels were made well after this comic, but perhaps it served in a similar manner to the engineered pressure suits, which were able to interface with their biosuits and the juggernauts. Laid out on the table, the alien is huge, easily 7 to 8 feet tall, with a powerful physique. Recognizing it as a separate life form, the doctor removes the now limp and very dead facehugger, revealing our extraterrestrial's true face. A dark tan or brown-skinned alien with massive brow ridges around deep-set eyes. Beneath that is a small flat nose and a strong jaw, full of molar-like teeth and a large pink tongue. Thinking that this is beyond his expertise, the doctor places a call to Washington. But then suddenly, the extraterrestrial wakes up in a panic and his chest explodes in a spray of red blood, with the chestburster escaping in the chaos. The facehugger, like the alien it creates, is quite unique. At first it looks like any other facehugger, with the same design, though its flesh-colored skin does have strange green highlights to it. However, when we see it in the doctor's office, it's now fully colored green with darkened areas, which could be the comic's way of saying that it was still alive when they found it, but it was dead by the time they got to the doctor. The term super or royal facehugger is given to huggers that create queens outright, and not aliens that transform into queens later. It was first used with the facehugger from the Alien 3 assembly cut, and Earth Angel predates this, but the classification does fit the alien. Another early example of the royal facehugger was seen in the Aliens Outbreak comic, where a frilled or spiked facehugger impregnates its host with a queen. We only see the chestburster for a moment, and it's covered in blood. But we can make out its form, and it's sleek with no shoulders or arm buds, while its head has inherited the large brows and deep eye sockets of its host. There are even red ovals that appear to be remnants of eyes. Usually, queen chestbursters are born with both arms and legs, while standard Xenos are born without legs and have either arms, the beginnings of arms, or are just snake-like with no appendages yet. But here, it's the opposite, and the queen is born with no arms and legs, while the xenomorphs that it creates have both arms and legs in their burster form, something normally reserved for the runner aliens or the imp from Planet 4. When we next see her, she's about 8 feet tall hunched over, and I'm guessing she's at least 10 feet tall when standing upright. Even so, most queens are even larger, but that could be attributed to the young age of the Earth Angel variant or its unique host. She has long bug-like limbs, making her look like a variant of Kinner's mantis alien, and she uses a digitigrade stance. She has a long tail with no visible dorsal tubes, and the head is adorned with a large crest, though it's not as ornate as most queens, and at least for now, looks more like the crest of a Praetorian. She has sharp teeth with the trademarked alien's inner jaw, But what really sets it apart and connects it to its host is its face, where instead of an enlarged brow, it now has two massive bug-like eyes, though they are featureless and covered by the creature's dome. The Earth Angel's now hiding in the forest and collecting bikers from a nearby bar to use as hosts. While back in town, the Doctor has gone home to his wife and daughter, where he insists that they go to his wife's mother's house, as he doesn't think they are safe where they are. While driving there, the Doctor, who we now know is named Dan, is trying to light a cigarette with the car's lighter, and while he's distracted, he doesn't see that they are about to collide with the alien queen. She crashes through the windshield, the lighter drops to the floor and begins to smolder. Flames ignite, and the alien screams, reaching for the girl in the back seat. She yells, and just as the alien is about to end her with its inner jaw, the fire overtakes the creature, and her dad yanks her out from the wreckage, as the car explodes and the family tumbles down off of the road. It looked like the fire had already killed the queen, and if it hadn't, the explosion should have, and she is never seen again in the comic. In comparison to other Queen stage Xenomorphs, the Earth Angel really stands out, and in most cases, the queens tend to look the same, with only minor differences. Because of this, some theorize that the queens are the only stage to ignore the alien's DNA reflex, where it inherits traits of its host, making them the pure form of Xenomorph XX121. When Dan and his family finally get their bearings, they realize that they are surrounded by eggs and bikers who've already been infected. The rest of the bikers have now arrived looking for their friends and are circling around when a chestburster tears its way free from one of the hosts and attacks another biker who is on a motorcycle, who then crashes into a tree, sending out an explosion that is able to burn up and kill the alien. Taking notice, Dan and the other bikers grab a can of gas and torch the nest area, killing off and stopping the Xenomorph invasion. Before it was destroyed, there was evidence that the Earth Angel was attempting to build a hive here. There were 3 forked strands of hive webbing that stretched out above the area where the ovomorphs were placed, and more of it was used to hold down hosts for implantation. There was no ovipositor to be seen in the comic, but it's possible that the alien grew one while laying the ovomorphs, and that it was suspended by the hive webbing, and that it has since broken down, but it's also possible that the Earth Angel wouldn't need an ovipositor to lay its eggs, and that the hive webbing was used to support the queen as she rests, as we saw a similar structure with the Acheron queen. In every story that involves the Xenomorphs, there's someone around like Weyland-Yutani that's looking for any kind of alien material that is left behind. But this is the 1950s. There is no Weyland-Yutani yet, there isn't even a Weyland Corporation or Yutani on their own yet, so it's the army who arrives. A sergeant carries a burnt up corpse of a facehugger to his superior and is told to seal this place up with a full report by sunset, to which the sergeant says, "Yes sir, but I'll be honest with you, Colonel, the state this place is in, I don't hold out much hope of being able to tell you much of anything. But there is evidence here that could prove valuable. There are the charred remains of the strange alien life forms which, if not now, in the future, could yield some scientific data. And there was a facehugger that was killed when it was run over by a motorcycle, and it's unknown if the ensuing fire burned it up." Now I know this is a contained story, but whenever I'm immersed in the alien universe, be it in a film, a book, a comic, or a video game, I'm always looking for ways that the company could get their hands on the alien. We saw Miss Yutani gain access to the Predator's plasma pistol in AVP-R, and I could see a continuation of this comic where in the future, a young Peter Weyland could be visited by someone from the army, with remains of the alien that encourage him further to expand his company's reach out into the stars. Once the aliens are taken care of, Dan and his family finally get to Grandma's house, and once inside, Dan makes a call for an ambulance. And when he's asked for his name, he says Dr. Daniel Ripley, making him the ancestor of Ellen Ripley, and the first in the family to kill an alien queen and to wipe out its nest. His wife does look a bit like Ellen, which would make sense, but the girl looks like Newt to me, and could be a nod to the relationship that the two formed on LV-426. Earth Angel began as a 13-part story from Diamond's preview catalog, and was later collected into a one-shot comic book. It was written and illustrated by John Byrne, who is perhaps most well known for his legendary run on the Uncanny X-Men with Chris Claremont that produced the Dark Phoenix saga and the Days of Future Past, while the name Earth Angel is in reference to the popular song by the Penguins from the 1950s that was featured in the film Back to the Future. Thanks for watching, take care, and I hope to see you next time.